The debate. You've heard everybody else comment. I have not. I have scrupulously not listened to other radio talk show hosts. Oh, I've watched the television, but no radio hosts. So I don't know who's saying what. I don't want to know who's saying what. But I watched this debate very carefully. It was a lousy presidential commission system that was set up. It was moderated awfully, and I want to get into specifics here with respect to these candidates. There's only one candidate who called the other candidate names. I went back and double-checked this, and that was Joe Biden. Clown, racist, stupid, shut up. I'm not surprised by this. Joe Biden is a nasty old man, and he was a nasty young man. And, you know, I take a risk when I post these things during the day because the backbenchers just cherry-pick my posts. That's okay. What can I tell you? But Joe Biden's always been this way. Whether it's Robert Bork, as I posted this morning, or Clarence Thomas, or scores of individuals who were nominated for judgeships and presidential appointments in Republican administrations. This is how he treats them. He calls them names, he uses surrogates, he leaks to the press. Joe Biden has had a 50-year relationship with the Washington press. Donald Trump has no relationship with the Washington press, and he's only been in Washington less than 4 years. And you can tell with respect to Biden and the press. Trump was cut off repeatedly. Biden was allowed to go on with these little monologues. And what Biden does, in a 2-minute monologue, he'll tell 5 lies and throw 10 insults. Because that's what they do in Washington. And that's how Biden conducts himself. He doesn't have brain power. He's a brawler. You think Trump's a brawler? Biden's a brawler. Now, I suspect but don't know that the president and his team looked at how Biden debated Paul Ryan in October of 2012, where Paul Ryan was considered a very decent guy, whether you like his politics or not, that's beside the point. A very informed young man, very attractive young man. He'd been in Congress for some time. And everybody thought he'd whip old Joe. But you see, Joe doesn't play fair. Joe makes facial tics. He comments under his breath. He has sort of an odd laugh. He does things to try and disrupt his opponent. This is what he does. That's what he did to Paul Ryan. That's what he tried to do to Donald Trump, but Donald Trump was not playing the role of Paul Ryan. Donald Trump is a counterpuncher. And you go back and look at the beginning of this debate from last night, and you will see it was Joe Biden who started the brawling and the interruptions, the name-calling, and this constant, Trump is a liar, liar, liar. You know, Biden has an entire career of lying, plagiarism, stealing speeches from Robert Kennedy and Neil Kinnock, lying about scholarships into law school, lying about his IQ, lying about his grades, and on and on and on and on, lying about his policies. I was deeply offended by some of the questions I were asked by the moderator. Just telling you the truth. I'm an American first. Not a radio host first, not a TV host first, not an author first. I'm an American first, and I'm going to tell it like it is. And we'll get to some of this. This white supremacy stuff. It's interesting that Joe Biden wasn't asked about it because he was the only candidate standing on the stage who actually dealt with white supremacists and segregationists and was damn proud of it. Kamala Harris even called him out, but the moderator didn't. Implicit in the moderator's question to the President of the United States was he must like white supremacists. President of the United States, who a week before, for the first time in our history, issued an order that lynching is a federal hate crime. It hadn't been done under Biden, hadn't been done under any Democrat. and has an arm's length long list of policies that he's implemented for the purpose of trying to assist the black community? Joe Biden doesn't have a list at all. Nothing. Half a century. But I'll circle back to that. We'll circle back to that. If the Presidential Commission doesn't like the way the debate went, maybe they ought to do a better job in picking their moderators. And maybe the Democrat Party ought to do a better job in nominating its candidates. Because the first one to throw the mud was Biden. As I said, he's a brawler. Now, I want to remind you of what happened on October 11, 2012. Unfortunately, this is audio, not video. And throughout this, Biden is smiling, laughing, rolling his eyes, his body English, mocking Paul Ryan, keeps interrupting him, and I guarantee you, I don't know for sure, but I guarantee you Trump and the Trump team saw this, and they were not going to play the role of Paul Ryan. Because I've been hearing news analysis, commentators, people I like, not radio, I didn't listen to radio. I hear them say, if Trump would have kept quiet, Biden would have fallen on his face. No, if Trump would have kept quiet, Biden would have gotten away with murder. All of his lies and slurs would have gone unchallenged. Because the way the Presidential Commission set this up and the way the moderator was handling the debate, Trump couldn't reply. He had no opportunity to reply. Several times he said, can I answer that? No, I'm going on to the next question. Well, you can't leave things unanswered. October 11, 2012, listen carefully. Paul Ryan and Joe Biden. Cut 10, go.
Here's the problem. They got caught with their hands in the cookie jar, turning Medicare into a piggy bank for Obamacare.
And by the way, throughout this, he's smirking. Right, Mr. Producer? He's smirking. He's motioning. It's like he's got a real Tourette's issue or whatever it is. Go ahead.
Came to Congress and said 1 out of 6 hospitals and nursing homes are going to go out of business as a result of this.
That's not what they said.
7.4 million seniors.
Stop, please. You're going to hear throughout this little shots like that, where he's violating the time that Paul Ryan has. Go ahead.
Expected to lose the current Medicare Advantage coverage they have. That's a $3,200 benefit cut.
That didn't
what we're
happen.
saying,
more people signed
these are
up.
from your own actuaries.
More people signed up for Medicare Advantage after the change.
What they're
nobody is
Mr. Vice President,
down.
I know,
no, this
Mr.
is
Vice President, I know you're under a lot of duress to make up for lost ground. But I think people will be better served if we don't keep interrupting each other.
Well, don't take all the 4 minutes then.
And this goes on. This goes on. And it wasn't just on health care. It was throughout this debate. Biden was mocking, making faces, that strange laugh that he has, rolling his eyes, interrupting. This went on. Now, Paul Ryan's not Donald Trump, and Donald Trump's not Paul Ryan. Paul Ryan was, as the Wall Street Journal editorial page, one of their favorite candidates. They loved Paul Ryan. And they're out there trashing, among others, the President of the United States today. The President of the United States had to make a decision. Once this debate started, once it was clear what was going on with the moderator, once it was clear what was going on with the brawler, Biden, and his history coming back, puking back up onto the stage, he had to make a decision. Am I going to get rolled? Do I sit back like Paul Ryan did? Or do I fight back? Do I fight back? Do I confront Joe Biden? And do I confront what's happening in terms of the moderation of this debate? And he fought back. And this is actually quite good. Actually, before I do this, I want you to hear this montage put together by this great organization called Grabian of CNN, MSNBC, urging Biden, don't do any more debates, don't do any more debates. Since when do the media advise candidates? Starting with Jake Tapper, of course. Cut 6, go.
So, very simple question. After what went down this evening, do you think Joe Biden should participate in a second or third debate?
Should the next two debates go on as scheduled?
I wouldn't be surprised, by the way, if this is the last presidential debate.
Should there be other debates?
Are we really going to repeat this? Are we going to have another two of these?
I think we have to hear from the Presidential Commission on Debates tomorrow. We can't do two more of these.
Why are we bothering with a discussion of the rules, of format, of time limits, of moderators at all, when we have just seen
that guy's
what
not
is
just
going
slow
to happen?
talking, he's slow thinking. Go ahead. This is amazing. These are networks where they have hosts calling Trump Hitler repeatedly in one program. Hitler. And saying the most awful things. And then they go, look at this debate. It's so uncouth. So uncouth. Trump's Hitler. Oh, my goodness. I've never seen anything like this. His supporters are like brown shirts. But the debate is so uncouth. Mostly peaceful protests where we have rioting in the streets. Anything goes when you attack the president of the United States. But the debate, that's where their line is drawn. That's where little Miss Manners comes in. Would I like debates that are lit? Of course I would, but it ain't going to happen. Because the Democrats destroy everything. They destroy our cities. They're destroying our Constitution. They're destroying our election. You think they're going to let the debate be handled in a clean way? Joe Biden's not going to allow that.